In 1995, one of America's top CIA agents walked into Moscow on a secret mission. Hours later, he vanished. No body. No messages. For 12 years, it was like he had been erased from the earth. Most people thought he was dead. But in 2007, a janitor inside the U.S. Embassy noticed something strange. A locked steel door in a basement hallway that nobody had opened in years. When they cut that door open, what they found inside was so shocking that the FBI, the CIA, and Russian intelligence all stormed the building that same day. And what was waiting behind that door finally revealed the truth about what really happened in Moscow. So, are you ready for this story? Hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? It is winter 1995. A plane lands in Moscow. Inside that plane is a man named Daniel Cole. He is not a tourist. He is a CIA agent. The Cold War is supposed to be over. But this city is still full of spies. Daniel walks through the airport. Men in heavy coats stare at him. Cameras watch every move. Outside, a black car takes him to the U.S. Embassy. Inside, an officer leads him down a quiet hallway. In a small room, Daniel sits at a table. Across from him is his boss. The boss says, "You have one job. Meet a contact. Get the information. Come back alive." He slides a file across the table. The file has a name, a location, and one photo. Do not trust anyone, the boss warns. If you feel someone is following you, call. Daniel signs the mission paper. He takes a radio, a pistol, and a map. That night, another car drives him to a safe house. He steps out, grabs his bag, and looks up at the dark Moscow sky. Somewhere out there, someone already knows he has arrived. The safe house is an old apartment. The walls are thin. The windows are dirty. Daniel locks the door, checks every room, then places a chair under the handle. He spreads his papers on the table. He studies the map and the contact photo again and again. He writes a short note for his wife and his little girl, but he does not send it. Every sound in the hallway makes him stop and listen. At one point, he turns off the light and stands at the window. On the street below, two men in long coats are standing. They are smoking. He cannot tell if they are watching him. Later, he hears a faint knock somewhere in the building. He picks up his pistol and waits. No one comes. By midnight, the hallway is quiet. Daniel sets an alarm, sits on the edge of the bed, and stares at the door. Tomorrow, he has to leave the apartment and meet his contact. He knows he will be watched the moment he steps outside. The next night, snow falls over Moscow. Daniel puts on a black coat and a fur hat. He steps out of the safe house and locks the door. The street is empty. The snow crunches under his boots. He walks fast, his head down, but his eyes check every window. He turns left, then right. Each time he looks behind him. For the first 10 minutes, everything seems normal. Then, as he crosses a small bridge, he hears something. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. He keeps walking. He listens again. The footsteps stop. Daniel walks faster. He reaches a narrow alley and steps inside. He presses himself against a wall. He pulls out his small radio. "This is Cole," he whispers. "I think someone is following me." The voice on the other end says, "Can you see them?" "No. Just footsteps." The voice says, "Stay calm. Keep moving. Stay on the route." Daniel puts the radio away. He looks both ways, then walks out of the alley and disappears into the snow. But those footsteps start again. Someone is out there, watching, and they are getting closer. Daniel turns a corner and feels the footsteps close in. His breath fogs in the cold air. He presses the radio button hard. "This is Cole," he says, his voice shaking now. "I think someone is following me. I need backup." The voice on the other end replies, "Keep moving. We're tracking you. Stay calm." Daniel whispers, "I'm almost at the meeting point, but they're right behind me." He looks over his shoulder. A shadow moves between the snow-covered cars. Suddenly, the radio hisses with static. "Say again, Cole. Say again," the voice calls out. Daniel opens his mouth, but nothing comes out. The static grows louder. Then the radio goes silent. No one hears from Daniel Cole again. Minutes later, the embassy loses contact. Cars rush through Moscow, searching street after street. Agents check the alley where he last called. Snow covers everything. No footprints. No sign of a struggle. Russian police join in. They set up roadblocks, interview people in apartments, sweep train stations. Nothing. By morning, Daniel's safe house is torn apart. His maps, his files, his bag, all still there. The city feels like it swallowed him whole. For weeks, the search does not stop. Helicopters circle the city. Every river and frozen canal is checked. Months pass. No body. No bag. Not even his radio is found. In the embassy, his photo is taped to a wall marked "Missing." No one can explain how a trained CIA agent just vanished on the streets of Moscow. Back in the United States, a phone rings in a small house. Daniel's wife answers. The voice on the other end tells her the news: her husband is missing. She does not speak for a long time. Her little daughter comes into the room holding a toy. She asks, "Where's Daddy?" The mother kneels down and hugs her tight. "We don't know yet," she whispers. Days later, two embassy officials come to the door with papers to sign. They tell her Daniel might never come home. But she shakes her head. She does not believe it. Every night, she leaves the porch light on waiting for him. The next year, 1996, the search for Daniel Cole does not stop. CIA agents move through Moscow street by street. They knock on doors. They show photos. Nobody has seen him. Russian police search too. They check hospitals, train stations, bus stops. They check every camera. Weeks turn into months. By the end of 1997, hundreds of people have been questioned. The alley where Daniel made his last call is studied again and again. Experts look for anything: a shell, a broken button, a piece of clothing. There is nothing. No one heard a gunshot. No one saw a fight. No taxi driver saw him. The safe house is left just as it was. Feels like Daniel stepped out for a walk and never came back. By the end of 1997, the CIA has to face the truth. Daniel has vanished. Completely. In America, Daniel's wife lives in the same house. She keeps the same pictures on the wall. Every morning she makes 2 cups of coffee. One for her, one for him. His young daughter waits by the window when the school bus drops her off. She watches the street. She thinks her dad might walk up the sidewalk. When people tell the wife to move on, she shakes her head. She says, "He is out there. He will come home." Every birthday, she and her daughter make a cake. They sing to an empty chair at the table. At night, the little girl puts her dad's old jacket on her bed. She says it smells like him. Years pass like this. Nothing changes. For them, time has stopped. In the CIA building there is a wall. It is covered with photos of agents who are missing. One photo stays there year after year. Daniel Cole. At first, people ask questions. They talk about the case. But over time, the talking slows down. New missions come. New agents arrive. The picture stays, but the case grows cold. People say he was captured. Some say he ran away. No one knows for sure. At the embassy in Moscow, in a dark basement hallway, there is a locked storage area that no one uses anymore. It has been closed for so long that people have stopped thinking about it. Even though most people stop talking about the case, some do not forget. Every year, on Daniel's birthday, a few CIA agents gather in a small private room. They do not bring cake. There are no balloons. They stand in a circle around a photo of Daniel on the table. Someone says a few words, always the same: "We remember." Then they stand in silence. This happens every single year. Daniel's wife and daughter do the same thing at home. They light a candle. They sit at the table. The little girl always asks, "When will he come home?" No one can answer. In the U.S. Embassy in Moscow, there is a basement hallway that very few people visit. It is dusty and quiet. The lights flicker. At the very end of this hallway is a heavy metal door. It has been locked for years. Old boxes and broken furniture are stacked in front of it. Most of the staff don't even know what is behind it. The key is missing and nobody cares. For 12 years, no one opens it. Cleaning crews stay away from this part of the building because it is dark and feels strange. This door is about to become the most important place in the building. But in 1996, 1997, and every year after that, nobody knows. Behind that locked door, something is waiting. It is 2007. 12 years have passed since Daniel Cole vanished. One night, a janitor is cleaning the basement of the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. This basement is old and quiet. Most workers never come down here. The janitor sweeps the floor. He stops when he sees something strange on the wall. A thin line of light is shining from behind a tall row of metal shelves. At first, he thinks it's just a broken light bulb. But this light is sharp, like it's coming from another room. He kneels down. He can feel a faint draft of air coming from the gap between the wall and the shelves. No one has touched these shelves in years. He slowly stands up, looking around to see if anyone else is there. The hallway is empty. It is just him. The light behind the shelves does not move. The janitor feels his heart beat fast. He grips the edge of the metal shelf and decides to see what is back there. The metal shelves are heavy. They are stacked with old boxes and broken chairs. The janitor pushes hard and the shelves scrape across the floor. As he slides them away from the wall, the thin beam of light grows wider. Behind the shelves is a door. It is steel, gray and bolted shut. There is no handle on this side. It looks like no one has opened it in many years. The janitor stares at it. He realizes this door is not on any map he has seen. He presses his ear to the door. Silence. He steps back and looks around. The hallway is still empty. This is not normal. The janitor knows he has to tell someone. He walks back upstairs fast, his hands shaking. He finds a security guard and says, "There is a locked door in the basement. I think you need to see it." Two guards follow the janitor back into the basement. When they reach the end of the hallway, they stop and stare at the door. They have worked in this building for years. They have never seen this. One of the guards radios for a supervisor. Soon more people arrive. They try to open the door, but it will not move. They check their building blueprints. The maps of the embassy show nothing. No door. No room. One guard says, "This shouldn't be here." They shine a flashlight over the steel surface. It looks like it has been welded shut from the inside. No one knows what is behind it. The supervisor calls Washington. For 12 years, the embassy has been silent about Daniel Cole. But this strange door is about to change everything. Within an hour, the strange basement door is no longer just a local problem. Phone calls are made to Washington. The message is simple. "We have found a hidden door in the embassy. It's not on any blueprint. It's been sealed for years." The word "sealed" changes everything. CIA headquarters listens carefully. They ask for photos. When the pictures come through, everyone in Washington goes silent. 12 years ago, one of their best agents vanished in Moscow. And now, in the very building that was supposed to be safe, there is a locked door that no one knew about. The order comes fast. Do not wait. Get that door open. Now. The embassy basement fills with people. Security guards, engineers, and agents stand in a tight group. They clear everything away from the shelves. Special tools are brought in: drills, saws, torches. Everyone is told to stay back, but no one wants to leave. Some whisper Daniel's name. For 12 years there has been no sign of him. What is behind this door could finally answer the question no one dared ask out loud. Is Daniel Cole in there? A worker puts on a heavy mask and starts the cutting torch. The flame hits the steel and sparks burst out. The hallway fills with smoke and the smell of burning metal. The sound is deafening. The line of sparks slowly moves across the top of the door. Everyone is holding their breath. One cut. Then another. Then a third. The steel begins to bend. They stop and listen. No sound comes from the other side. They keep cutting. A piece of metal falls away. The torch moves lower. After almost an hour, the outline of the door is glowing hot. Finally, the worker steps back. With crowbars and hammers, they pry the door open. It screeches as it moves. A foul smell rushes out, making everyone cover their faces. Inside is only darkness. Flashlights click on. The beams of light reach into the room. What they see makes the room go silent. The steel door finally swings open. The sound is slow and sharp, like metal scraping on metal. Everyone steps back as the smell hits them. It is thick, stale, and sour. The flashlights shine into the room. Dust floats in the air. The walls are covered with something soft like padding. There are no windows. No vents. Feels like the air has been trapped in there for years. The room is silent. Agents move closer. One of them pulls a mask over his face and steps inside. He shines the light across the floor. There is no bed. No food. No sign of normal life. There is only a single table and a chair in the corner. The chair is tipped over as if someone knocked it down. The agent moves the light to the far side of the room. There, in the shadows, something catches the beam. It is lying on the floor. He kneels down slowly. He says, "There's something here." Everyone else stays frozen in the doorway, waiting for his next words. The agent bends down and picks up the object. It is an old, dirty CIA badge. The photo on it is faded, but the name is clear. Daniel Cole. No one speaks. For 12 years, the man they had been searching for has been connected to this room. The agent holds up the badge so everyone can see it. Then he turns around and shines the flashlight at the table. On top of it lies a thick notebook. The cover is stained and torn. The first few pages are filled with writing. Someone has been keeping notes here. The agent does not open it yet. He keeps looking around. The walls are covered in deep scratches, marks from fingernails. In the far corner, the padding is torn as if someone tried to rip their way out. The entire room is silent except for the sound of the agent's breathing. Slowly he looks up and says, "He was here." And for the first time in 12 years, everyone knows this is no longer just a missing person case. This is something much worse. Two agents step inside the dark room first. Their flashlights sweep across the walls. Every wall is covered with thick padding. There are no windows. No doors except the one they cut open. Feels like a cage. A place no one could escape. High in the corner they see a small black camera. It is pointed down at the table in the center of the room. One of the agents says, "They were watching this room." The floor is covered with dust. There are no blankets, no food, no water bottles. Only a chair lying on its side and a wooden table. The room is so silent they can hear their own breathing. On the table, under the dust, something is sitting there. A thick book, large and heavy, its cover dark with dirt. It looks like no one has touched it for years. The agents know they have just found the only clue in this room. One agent puts on gloves and picks up the notebook. The cover is hard and rough. The pages inside are full. They carry it out of the room and place it on a clean table in the hallway. When they open the first page, a smell of old paper rises. The pages are yellow. Some are torn at the edges. There is writing on every single page. Lines and lines of notes. Dates are written in the top corner. The writing continues for hundreds of pages. One agent turns the pages slowly. Another agent stands next to him, silent. The further they look, the more they see the dates climb. Each page is covered with words. The notebook is not empty. It is 12 years of someone's life written down. They look at the handwriting closely. And then they both freeze. The handwriting is neat at the start. The letters are firm and clear. One agent whispers, "This is his." The other nods. There is no doubt. These pages were written by Daniel Cole. They turn more pages. The notes start like reports. Daniel writes about meetings, names, and places. He writes warnings about people he thinks are spies. But as the pages move forward, the letters start to change. The writing grows smaller. Some words are hard to read. By the time the dates reach 2002, the pages shake. The lines turn into broken sentences. Daniel writes about hearing voices through the wall. He writes, "I am alive. Please open this door." The agents keep turning. The words become more desperate. Over and over he writes, "Help me." These are his last messages to the outside world. The agents sit at the table, the notebook open in front of them. The first pages are steady and clear. It is like reading a mission log. Each page begins with a date. October 1995. November 1995. December 1995. Daniel writes short, careful notes. Contact a safe. Contact be compromised. Meeting moved. Possible Russian watch team in area. He draws maps of streets. He writes details about cars, license plates, and people he sees from a window. Every page is about intelligence. There are codes, small symbols in the corners of the paper. He lists warnings. Do not trust embassy guard with glasses. Phone in safe house is tapped. Someone inside knows my route. Page after page shows a man still working, still thinking like an agent, even though he is locked away. The agents keep turning. The notes go through 1996, 1997, 1998. It is clear Daniel was alive during those years. Even trapped in that small room, he believed someone would find him. But the pages ahead show that hope's starting to fade. Halfway through the notebook, the handwriting begins to change. The neat lines start to wobble. The dates on the pages reach 2001, 2002. The sentences grow longer and uneven. Sometimes there are scratches where the pen pressed too hard. Daniel starts writing about noises. I hear them walking above me. I hear doors opening, closing. They talk, but I can't hear what they say. On some pages he writes the same line again and again. Is anyone coming? Other pages are lists. He lists the days without food. The times when the light was turned off for so long he thought he was blind. His words become desperate. Tell my family I am here. Tell my daughter I love her. The pages show a man trying to stay alive with only a pen. By the last section, the words almost run off the page. The writing is rushed as if he knows he is running out of time. The agents turn another page. And another. Every word now feels like a cry for help. The agents keep turning the notebook pages and the dates climb higher. 2004, 2005. By now the writing looks weak. The letters shake so badly that some words can hardly be read. He no longer writes about missions. He no longer writes about codes or names. Now it is only him. Please open the door, one page says. The next page, tell my family I'm alive. Another, why can't anyone hear me? There are pages where he just writes the word help over and over, filling the entire paper. Some pages are stained like he was crying as he wrote. One page says, I can hear people above me. I shout. No one comes. Then comes the final page. The letters are thin, almost faded. It looks like it took everything he had to write them. If you find this, the page says, "Tell my family I tried to come home." There are no more pages after that. The agents sit back, their hands frozen on the notebook. For the first time in 12 years, they understand what really happened. The notebook is carried upstairs. A meeting is called inside the embassy. Around a table, the senior CIA officers, FBI investigators, and embassy staff sit in silence as the book is read. Each page is shown. The neat, strong writing at the start. The slow fall into fear and weakness. When the last page is shown, nobody speaks. Daniel Cole was alive. Not for weeks. Not for months. For years. Locked inside the very building that was supposed to keep him safe. He begged to be heard. He died only a few feet from help. One officer finally breaks the silence. Someone here did this. Someone locked him inside. The room fills with whispers. No one can understand how it was possible. But there is one thing everyone knows now. Daniel did not vanish in Moscow. He was hidden here, under their feet, for 12 long years. And the question burns through the room like fire. Who put him there? The moment the notebook is found, the embassy changes. An order comes from Washington: lock everything down. Guards close the gates. Doors are locked. No one leaves. The basement where the room was found is sealed. Every hallway is full of agents. They search every office, every drawer, every room. Laptops are taken. Phones are checked. Security cameras are reviewed hour by hour. No one is allowed to talk to the press. Even embassy workers who had nothing to do with the case are held for questioning. People whisper in the halls. The story spreads. Someone locked up Daniel Cole right here. Now the question is simple: who did it? The building turns into a prison. This time, the doors are locked from the outside, and everyone inside is treated as a suspect. 2 days later, black SUVs pull up to the embassy. FBI and CIA teams from Washington step out. They carry boxes of files, scanners, and equipment. They set up a large room on the top floor. Inside that room there are no windows. Agents line the walls. The leaders speak. No one here can be trusted. Not even Americans. We start over. We check everything. They make a list of every person who worked in the embassy in 1995. They order interviews. People are brought in one by one, asked about every detail from 12 years ago. The tone is cold and direct. Where were you? Who did you see? What did you hear? They are looking for a traitor. Agents open old boxes that have been stored for years. Inside are visitor logs, phone records, and mission files from 1995. Every page is studied. Phone calls made the night Daniel vanished. Sign-in sheets for people who entered the building. Reports written by staff. As they go through these papers, a pattern begins to appear. Certain names come up again and again. Some reports look normal but don't match the times. One document even lists Daniel as checked in at the embassy the day he disappeared, even though he never came back. It is clear. Someone lied. Someone who worked in the embassy helped to cover this up. The betrayal did not come from the streets of Moscow. It came from inside the building. In a storage room deep in the embassy, old security tapes are found. Dust covers the boxes. They are marked 1995. Agents carry them upstairs and load the tapes into a player. The screen shows grainy black and white footage of the embassy basement. For hours the video shows nothing. Then one camera catches movement. Daniel Cole comes into view. He is walking next to another man. This man is tall, wearing a long coat. They walk down the hallway together. They reach the very end of the basement, the same place where the sealed door was found. The camera shows Daniel stepping through the doorway. The tall man follows him in. For several minutes the camera shows only the closed door. Then the door opens. The tall man steps back out. He walks away calmly. He is alone. Daniel never comes out. The video ends there. The agents watching the tape sit in silence. They now know the exact moment Daniel Cole was trapped. The next step is to find out who the tall man was. Personnel records from 1995 are pulled out. They look for someone who matches his height and his build. They find a match. It was a diplomat. He had access to the basement. He had clearance to move anywhere in the building. On paper he worked for the United States. But the investigation shows another secret. This man was also working for Russian intelligence. A double life. In 1995 he led Daniel into that basement room. He locked the door. And for 12 years no one opened it again. The agents now understand the betrayal. Daniel wasn't caught in a trap outside. He was betrayed by someone inside the walls of his own embassy. The files show one more shocking detail. Only a few days after Daniel disappeared, the tall man turned in his resignation papers. He said he had family issues and needed to return home. No one questioned him. No one stopped him. He packed his things and left Moscow. There were no interviews. No investigation. At that time, the embassy believed Daniel was missing somewhere out in the city. No one imagined the truth, that he was locked in a basement only steps away. The man boarded a flight out of Russia and was gone. The CIA realizes that for 12 years he has been free. His name is not on any wanted list. There are no alerts at airports. He just walked away taking the secret with him. Every person in the room stares at the file. Feels unreal. The man who caused all of this simply vanished from their lives just like Daniel did. The discovery of the hidden room changes everything. For 12 years no one even knew the room was there. Now the CIA has a new mission. They begin to track down the man who betrayed Daniel Cole. Agents search for his records. Passports, bank accounts, travel history. They contact embassies all over the world. Teams are sent to Europe, Asia, and South America. Interviews are held with anyone who ever worked with him. They find signs that after leaving Moscow he moved often. He never stayed in one country for long. It becomes clear that he has been running. Posters with his picture are quietly sent to airports and border control. This time he will not slip away. Inside the CIA they call the hunt by a single name. Operation Cole. It has one goal: find the man who locked Daniel Cole in that room and never let him out. The CIA begins to dig into every piece of the former diplomat's life. They trace old bank accounts. They look at travel documents. They check phone records from the past 12 years. Bit by bit they find a pattern. He has been using fake names. Every 2 years he changes countries. He hides in small towns far from big cities. Wiretaps on phone calls pick up his voice in Eastern Europe. A money transfer leads to a small bank in a forgotten village. A local contact confirms what they need to know. A tall man with the same face now lives there. He has a new name. He lives alone in a small broken-down house on the edge of the village. Every day he buys bread from the same bakery. He walks the same dirt road. There is no security, no guards, nothing. The CIA and FBI watch him for weeks. They see him living a quiet, normal life. But they know exactly what he has done. Once the evidence is ready, Washington gives the order. Find him. Take him alive. Before sunrise, a convoy of unmarked cars rolls down a narrow village road. The cars stop a short distance from the man's house. Agents step out silently. They split into teams and surround the property. One team moves to the front door. Another covers the back. The signal is given. The door bursts open with a loud crash. Agents rush inside, flashlights cutting through the dark. The man is sitting at a table. He does not run. He does not even stand up. He just looks at them and smiles. "Are you here for me?" he says calmly. They grab him, push him to the floor and handcuff him. Outside, the sun is just starting to rise. The villagers watch from a distance as the agents lead the man into a car. For 12 years he had been hiding. Now there is nowhere left to run. The captured man is taken to a secure building. He is placed in a small, plain room. There is one table and 2 chairs. His hands are cuffed to the table. 2 agents walk in. One from the FBI, one from the CIA. They sit across from him. For a moment, no one says a word. Finally, the CIA agent slides a photo across the table. It is Daniel Cole. "Where is he?" the agent asks. The man looks at the photo. Then he smiles. "You finally found the room," he says. The FBI agent leans forward. "Why did you do it?" The man shrugs like it is nothing. "Orders," he says. "You don't understand how things worked back then." The CIA agent slams a hand on the table. "Daniel Cole died because of you." The man just leans back in his chair. His calm never changes. "Ask Moscow," he says quietly. "They gave the instructions. I just followed them." The man begins to talk. In 1995, after the Cold War ended, there was still tension between America and Russia. The Russians knew Daniel Cole was in Moscow. They wanted him alive. Killing him would make him a hero, the man says. But keeping him alive, locked away, silent, that was power. The Russians offered the diplomat a deal. If he could trap Daniel inside the embassy without being caught, he would be paid and protected. He used his clearance to gain Daniel's trust. On the night Daniel disappeared, he told him there was an urgent meeting in the basement. Daniel followed him. The moment Daniel stepped inside the hidden room, the man slammed the door shut and locked it from the outside. From that day forward, Daniel was a prisoner. The Russians did not need to watch him themselves. They only needed him out of the game. No one would think to look for him inside his own embassy, the man says. For 12 years the plan worked perfectly. And by the time anyone found the room it was too late. The interrogators ask what happened after the door was closed. The man explains everything. Inside the hidden room, Daniel shouted and pounded on the door. The soundproof walls kept his voice trapped. No one upstairs could hear him. Every day the man returned. He brought food and water. He slid them through a small slot in the wall. At first he told Daniel, "This is temporary. If you cooperate you will be released." Daniel asked why he was being held. The man never gave an answer. Weeks turned into months. The man said he waited for new instructions from Moscow. But no new orders came. So he kept Daniel locked in the room just as he was told. Daniel continued to write in the notebook. He stayed strong at the start. But the years passed and the man knew Daniel was breaking. Still he never unlocked that door. The interrogators press harder. The man tells them what happened next. After years he began visiting less and less. He would sometimes go weeks without checking on Daniel. When he finally returned, Daniel's voice was weak. His body was thinner. Daniel begged him. He clawed at the padded walls. He tried everything to get out. But the man never helped him. Eventually he stopped bringing food. He says he was sure Moscow had forgotten about the plan. By then Daniel was too weak to fight. The man says, "One day I came back and there was no sound. I opened the slot and he didn't move. I knew it was over." After that, the man sealed the door for good. Then he quit his job and disappeared. Sitting in the interrogation room now, he speaks like it is nothing. The agents sit in silence, listening to the story of how one of their own was slowly erased from the world, right under their feet. The room falls completely silent. Only the sound of the recorder clicks in the background. One of the agents leans forward. What were his last moments like? The man looks straight at them calm. "I heard him die," he says. Those 4 words make everyone stop. He explains. "The last time I came to the embassy basement I could hear him through the wall. He was too weak to yell. It was just scratching. Slow. Then nothing." The FBI agent grips the table with both hands. "You knew he was dying and you did nothing?" The man nods. "No one came. No one knew. That's how it was supposed to be." His voice is cold, almost bored. "I stayed there for hours just listening," he continues. "Then it was quiet. That's when I knew he was gone." The CIA agent slams a hand on the table. "You murdered him." But the man just stares back. "I followed orders," he says. "That's all I ever did." For a moment, no one speaks. The truth about Daniel Cole's last day has finally been said out loud. 12 years of mystery ends with this moment, and the room is filled with rage, sadness, and silence. Right after the confession, the FBI teams return to the basement. The same heavy door is opened again. The room looks exactly as it did before, the table, the chair, the dust. But now they know the truth. This time they come with lights, cameras, and tools. Every wall is checked. They use scanners to see if anything is hidden behind the padding. One agent pulls the torn pieces of padding off the wall. Another agent crawls on the floor, shining a light into every corner. The sound of scraping fills the room. Metal detectors sweep across the walls. Every inch of the small room is searched. They know that somewhere in here is proof of Daniel Cole's final days. One agent looks up at the ceiling and sees a thin metal vent. It is covered in thick layers of dust. He points at it and says, "What about that?" The others gather below and shine their lights. The vent does not look normal. The edges are welded shut. They realize this vent has not been opened in years. And if the confession is true, this vent may hide something. 2 agents climb up with a small cutting tool. They wear gloves and masks. The tool sparks as it cuts through the old weld. The sound is loud in the small room. Bit by bit, the vent door comes loose. As soon as they pull it open, a thick smell rushes out. Everyone steps back. The air is sour and rotten. The agents shine a flashlight inside. At first, they see only darkness. Then, in the beam of light, something pale appears. Bones. The vent is packed with old, broken bones. A skull lies on its side. Next to it, pieces of torn clothing still cling to the bones. The agents do not speak. They all know who this is. Daniel Cole never left this room. They close their eyes for a moment. For 12 years, the answer had been right here, hidden behind a sealed vent. The bones from the vent are taken out carefully, piece by piece. They are placed into clean white bags. Every item is labeled. The torn scraps of clothing, the skull, the notebook, all of it is packed and sent to a lab. 4 days the embassy is quiet. No one talks in the hallways. Everyone waits for the results. When the call finally comes, It confirms what they already know. DNA tests show the remains belong to Daniel Cole. There is no doubt now. Daniel never left the embassy. The news hits everyone at once. For 12 years, people searched the streets of Moscow. They searched alleys, apartments, and safe houses. All that time, Daniel was only a few feet away, alive in that room waiting. And no one came. In a conference room, the agents listen as the lab officer repeats the result. It's him. Some of them stare at the table. Some look at the floor. No one says a word. The mystery that haunted them for over a decade is solved. But the truth hurts worse than they imagined. Inside the embassy, the agents prepare 3 things. Daniel Cole's badge. The notebook he wrote in for 12 long years. And the remains taken from the vent. They place them together in a single case. The case is covered with an American flag. Every person in the embassy stands silent as the case is carried out. No one speaks. No one moves. It is placed inside a military plane waiting at the Moscow airport. The engines start. The plane lifts into the cold sky, heading home. Hours later in the United States, the plane lands at an air base. A small honor guard waits on the runway. The case is carried down slowly, step by step. Daniel's wife stands there, now older. His daughter, now grown, stands beside her. For a long time they don't move. They just watch as the case is placed in front of them. This is what they waited 12 years to see. There are tears, but there is also a deep quiet. The family finally has him back. Not alive, but home. After Daniel Cole's body is returned home, the next battle is not in Moscow. It is in quiet rooms behind closed doors. American officials meet with Russian officials. No cameras. No reporters. No public statements. The 2 sides agree on one thing. This story cannot get out. If the world learns that a CIA agent was locked inside his own embassy for 12 years, it will create chaos. It will show betrayal on a level no one wants to admit. For weeks, secret meetings are held. Every word is kept off the record. Russia says, "We never ordered him killed. It was not us." The US says, "One of our own helped you." That cannot be forgiven. In the end, they both make a deal. Russia promises to share certain files. The United States agrees to keep the details from the public. The traitor is taken to a secret prison. There is no trial. No news headline. He simply disappears just like Daniel did all those years ago. But even with all this secrecy, stories begin to leak. People inside the embassy whisper. Relatives of the workers tell pieces of the truth. Soon there are rumors in Washington. They found a hidden room. They found a notebook. They found him. None of these rumors ever make the front page, but they spread. And to the people who knew Daniel Cole, the silence does not matter. They now know what really happened. For the family, there is finally an answer. For the CIA, there is one lasting wound. They never looked in their own basement. In 2008, a gray sky hangs over Arlington National Cemetery. A small group gathers on the grass. There are no cameras. No press. Only family, soldiers, and a few CIA officers. Daniel Cole's flag-covered coffin rests on a wooden stand. An honor guard stands at attention, rifles in hand. The ceremony is quiet. The priest speaks a few short words. He tells the story of a man who served his country. A man who never came home. 2 soldiers fold the American flag from the coffin. They hold it tight, every fold crisp and slow. Then the coffin is lowered into the ground. Daniel's wife steps forward. Her hand rests on the smooth wood. She closes her eyes and whispers something no one else can hear. Standing next to her is their daughter. She is no longer the little girl who waited at the window for her father to come home. She is grown now. In her hands is his worn CIA badge. The one they found on the floor of the hidden room. She presses it against her chest and begins to cry. The sound of rifles cracks through the cold air. 7 shots. Then 7 more. A trumpet plays taps. The slow, sad notes echo across the cemetery. The family watches as the last piece of earth is placed over the grave. For 12 years they had no answers. Now, at last, Daniel Cole has come home. And this time he will not be left behind. Years pass after the traitor is taken away and the case is closed. But inside that embassy, people say the story never really leaves. The basement is sealed now. The heavy steel door remains, but no one uses the hallway that leads to it. Workers say the air down there feels colder than the rest of the building. Even in summer, it's like walking into a freezer. Many of them avoid it. They say they feel something as soon as they step close. Some of the guards whisper that late at night, when everything is silent, they hear it. A faint knock. Sometimes just once. Sometimes over and over. Others say they've heard a voice. A man's voice. Very soft, like it's coming from deep underground, calling for help. No one stays down there alone. New workers who don't know the story think it's just a dark corner of the embassy. But the older ones know. They tell the new ones, that hallway is not empty. Someone was left behind there. For 12 years, Daniel Cole was only steps away. Alive. Locked in a room no one thought to open. And every knock, every whisper of air reminds them of the truth. He called out, but no one came. That betrayal has become one of the darkest chapters in CIA history. It is a lesson they can never erase. Even today, years later, when the name Daniel Cole is spoken inside that building, the room goes silent. And everyone thinks about the same thing. What if someone had opened that door sooner? What if they had checked one more time? Maybe Daniel would have walked out alive.